Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am here today to explain to you what happened to my skin. I have been getting a lot of inboxes and text messages for those who have my number asking me about the post that I did on Instagram a couple of weeks ago about my skin condition. And people have been curious to know, how is it that I got to have that skin condition? So I decided I'd rather just make a video and explain to everyone how it all started and all of that. So I did make a few notes just so I remembered everything that happened and how it happened and how I got here. So I think that since it's a lot of information and a lot that has happened, I am actually going to make quite a number of videos concerning this disease, because if I did everything in one go, it will be the longest video ever. So I am going to divide it into sections. I think today I'm going to be talking about what happened and how it all started, and we'll go and see how far I get on this video. So let me start by introducing myself. Yes, my name is Valerie, and thank you guys for watching this video. And I would like for you to subscribe. If you do happen to enjoy this video, please also give it a thumbs up, because that really helps my videos. And also, if you have any questions regarding anything on this video, you can write it on the comment section, and I should be able to answer it in my very next video, depending on what exactly I will be talking about, but also regarding about this skin condition. So yes, let's start right from the beginning. So August 2020, this is last year, I suddenly had like an itch on my belly, on my right side of my left side, sorry, on the left side of my belly. This went on for about 2 weeks, and the reason that it went on for so long was because I normally don't like to switch on my lights in the morning in the bathroom. I love to switch on candles instead of putting on actual light, because I love that warm, calm feeling that I get in the morning when I wake up and I have my baths. So I did that, or that's what I've always done anyway, most of the times. And I did that for a while, and I would just always realize that when I get into the water, I itch on the side of my stomach. So I didn't think much of it. I would just rub it with my cloth and leave it at that. And after about 2 weeks, I realized, no, this is actually getting irritating now, you know. So one of the days I decided to switch on my lights and see what's actually going on. So I stood in front of my basin, and my basin is a bit higher than my waist. So I had to like stand on something so that I could actually see what's going on with my stomach. And when I checked, I saw that I was actually red and had a rash on this portion of my stomach. And this was a bit weird for me. I've never had a rash since I was born, or that I remember of. None that I remember. Let me just say that. And I then started applying some shea butter and tea tree oil on it, and just to see how that was going to, or hoping it's going to go away. Then after doing that for about 2 weeks, I realized nothing is happening. Then I showed it to my husband and said, babe, look, I have suddenly developed some sort of a rash or something on my belly. And he said, should we go see a doctor? And I was like, nah, I don't think so. Maybe let me go to the chemist or the pharmacy and see what they can give me to assist with this rash, right? But he said, you know what, this looks like shingles. And I'm like, what's shingles? Okay, so there I am. I start Googling, looking for shingles. And hey, guess what? Shingles looks similar to what I have, but it was not exactly the same. My bumps were slightly a bit raised, whereas shingles had like a pattern, and it was just similar, but not exactly quite as my rash. But either way, I went with shingles. And that afternoon, I went to the pharmacy and they gave me an ointment, biotin, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it was biotin, and said I should apply that for about 10 days. And if it's not gone in 10 days, then I need to come back and then they can see what else they can give me to assist with this itch. So I did that for about 10 days and nothing happened. It was almost as if I'm not applying anything. I didn't get any relief or anything like that. And I then decided, okay, went back to the pharmacist, and the pharmacist on duty suggested that I go see a doctor. So instead of going straight to the doctor, I spoke to a friend of mine, and she said, I know somebody who, or rather, she said, that looks similar to something that I've seen, and I will go and get you the ointment that we used to cure this thing. So they gave me this little ointment, and I applied that for about 2 weeks and nothing. Okay, this itch was now affecting me even during the day. It was not, I was just constantly scratching whenever throughout the day, because initially it was just in the mornings when I have like really hot baths. So now it was just going, you know. And I realized, okay, now that same rash has now moved onto my right boob. I was like, okay, now. Okay, and that was a bit painfulish because it wasn't just only on my boob, it was also towards my nipple, and my nipple is slightly a bit sensitive. So that's when I decided to book an appointment with a dermatologist, and I got one at here at Unitas Hospital. And I went to see the dermatologist, and she looked at me with some little glass thingy and she says, this looks like Lichenplanus. And I said, what, like a what? She's like, Lichenplanus. And I'm like, what is that? She says, nah, it's just a rash that comes, and you just have to wait it out. I'm like, okay, isn't there something you can give me? She's like, no, I'll give you an ointment, but I'm not saying that it is. Try it on for 10 days, for about 10 days or so. If the rash continues, then come back. But if it dies out, then it's not Lichenplanus. And if it does continue, then you'll come back and we will do a skin biopsy, and we will just confirm what exactly you are suffering from. So, okay. Then she also mentioned another thing, that, by the way, this ointment is going to cause dark marks, like pigmentation on your skin. So just be aware of that. And I thought, okay, no, that's fine, because at that time it was still purplish red, and I thought, okay, no, that's fine. If I can just get the itch to stop, I think I would be okay with the marks. Then I went home. 10 days, in fact not even 10, 7 to 8 days, the rash stopped and the bumps reduced. It was now flat, and I just saw the marks. They were like black, and I think you can see my complexion, so it was very distinct. And I thought, you know what, it's just on my stomach, I can live with this. It's not like I wear any of those what do you call these, crop tops and stuff like that, so I'm good, I can live with that. And this is now in November, right? So December, the last 2 weeks, we go home. I'm from Limpopo in Venda, and that place is hot. It is so hot. So we get there, and I think not even 3 days in, I start itching on my back, you know, and I'm like wondering, what is this? So I show my husband, and he says, I think that stuff is coming back. And by this time, my ointment is finished, because the tube was like literally this small. It was so tiny that I didn't have anything left by the time I did my first application. My first 10 days of application. So we decided, okay, we went around the town where it comes from. It's in the rural side of town, so there isn't much pharmacies and stuff. So the two that we went to, they didn't have the ointment, and then all I had to do was wait until I come back to Gauteng. So we decided, okay, I'll get the ointment when I get back this side. So, and here's another thing. During that holiday, we got COVID, the both of us. And I even thought maybe it's COVID that aggravated my skin condition. Maybe when I got COVID, it decided to aggravate that skin condition that I had, or that was there. And when we came back, I was now going through my second week of recovery from COVID. So I waited for the 10 days to be cleared. And then after that, I booked my first appointment to see my dermatologist in January, right? So I go back and I show her my back. And then she says, no, now I'm definitely sure this is Lichenplanus. At that time, I think my first visit, I didn't quite remember what she called it. So this time I asked her to write it down so that I could go Google and search, what is this disease? So some of the things that she mentioned to me, which I wrote down, is, so I asked her again, what could have caused this? Because I think the first time she almost kind of brushed it off and didn't go into detail. So this time I asked her, so if you're saying it's Lichenplanus, what is Lichenplanus? What causes Lichenplanus? How did I get Lichenplanus? I asked her those questions, and she said it's an inflammatory skin condition that is caused by an autoimmune response, and that basically what's happening is my skin is attacking itself. It thinks that I said that wrong. My immune system is attacking my skin. It thinks that my skin is a disease. So basically, it's working reverse the way that it's supposed to work. And I was like, okay, how did I get here? And she said, well, it could be a number of factors, but it's very difficult to pinpoint exactly what it is. You are actually the one who's supposed to realize or check what exactly is it that could be closest to some of the causes that could cause this. So she mentioned that that this condition could be caused by viral infections. She mentioned that this condition could be caused by physical or emotional stress, and that it could be caused by viral infections, which I got tested for and didn't have any of that. And also that and also injury to skin. So she advised me to avoid any trauma to my skin, and I should do my best to try and avoid scratching the skin, especially where I have the bumps, even any other place on my skin, because the more I scratch, the more it gets worse. So I did my best not to scratch, but it was hard because it really itched so much. It itched so much. I've never reached that amount of itching in my life. But yeah, I tried that for about a few weeks. And also another thing that she did mention was that there is no, she mentioned that there is no known cure. Basically, I can't cure this condition, but I could learn to manage it. And we just pray and hope that um, it doesn't flare again, after I manage to get to after I get to the part where it's managed. So I could just try to manage the disease. But I think the tricky part is, how do we manage a disease that has very little research on it, no known cure, and only 2% of the population of the whole world has been diagnosed with such a disease? I was like, okay, this is weird. How did I get one of those rare diseases, you know? So obviously, I had to look back into my life and see where the possibilities are. And we then discussed with the doctor and thought, okay, could it be, could it be, could it be, you know? But anyway, she gave me another ointment and said, let's use this ointment, which is a much stronger one. It was a corticosteroid. Oh, corticosteroid. Yes, corticosteroid. Wow. She diagnosed, oh my goodness, now I'm fumbling my words all over. She prescribed me with that, and it was an Adventan fatty ointment. I think I will insert it somewhere. And I was using that tube every day, in the morning and at night. And she did tell me that over time, this ointment may thin my skin. That's one of the disadvantages. Yeah, but the way that I was so desperate to get relief from this thing, I didn't understand to what point thinning of my skin meant. I just wanted this thing to go, you know. So I did use it, and this went on for about a week or so, and the condition just continued. It just continued. And that's when I sent an email and I said to her, my condition is getting worse, you know. And she said, okay, book an appointment. You can come in the following week. And while waiting for that appointment, I then shared my pictures with my youngest sister. And she said to me, hey, my other sister has this. And I was like, okay. So I spoke to my sister, the one that's after me, and I called her and I said, hey, I hear you have a similar condition that I have. So we started chatting, exchanging notes, and explaining our stories and all of that. And she told me her doctor diagnosed her with Pityrosia, something like that. And I said, mine is Lichenplanus. So when we checked, her condition is short term, mine is long term. But the symptoms were so similar. So when I asked her, please give me your doctor's name so that I could go to your doctor, maybe she can give me something that will assist me with this condition. She then showed me the name, and we both then realized we are using the same doctor. We're using the same dermatologist. And her condition was getting way better and so much faster. Not even 5 weeks or so, it was already disappearing. No marks also at that. So then I then asked her, what ointments are you using? So when we exchanged pictures of our medication, we're basically using the same medication. She's getting better, I'm not. So I thought, okay, did perhaps the doctor misdiagnose me or give me something? Because I think she only had one ointment different from mine, but the rest are the same. So then I sent an email to my doctor again. I said, hey, doctor, I have this sister of mine. This is her name, and she's your patient too. Perhaps you might have misdiagnosed me. And I think we have the same condition because hers is healing, mine is not, and we're using similar medications, though it's not exactly the same. Could I come back in and then perhaps you could do a skin biopsy and just confirm that my condition is actually what you're saying it is, and maybe the medication, there's something else stronger that you could give me? So the doctor agrees and says, please come in for a stronger treatment. So I go in the very next day. When I get there, my doctor was annoyed. Like, she was so annoyed. I was even so scared the way that she was so annoyed. And I was like, I'm not saying that you don't know your job, but could it be perhaps that I need another diagnosis? And I think she felt a bit insulted by that, and I don't know. I just apologized and said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult you or to insinuate anything. It's just I'm desperate and I don't know what to do. So she says, okay, you know what, girl, let me give you a skin biopsy and let's confirm whether you have Lichenplanus or not. So she takes a piece of skin on my shoulder. It was about a centimeter long. That's when I realized that this condition actually is deep, because it actually had a root going all the way down. And I was like, whoa, this is not just a surface thing, hey? So I left and she asked me to start with UVB phototherapy sessions. And she said I would need 21 sessions and I would have to go in twice a week for 11 weeks. So I said, okay, great. And she also put me on prednisone for 7 days. I was taking 10 tablets for 7 days of prednisone. I know that's a pretty high dosage, but she was trying to reduce the rate of the growth of this condition. And I was just now having purplish marks all over my legs, my back, my arms. It was bad. But even then, it wasn't as bad as what it actually got to, but it was bad. So over time, I was going for the phototherapy sessions, and I was very excited about the phototherapy sessions because I had done a little bit of research before I started the sessions, wherein they were saying a lot of good things about the phototherapy sessions. They were saying how it reduces the marks or the skin pigmentation caused by so many other different diseases also, and that it may help to stop or reduce the rate of the growth of the condition. So with that, I think I've said or shared quite a lot today regarding how this condition started and how it progressed as time went by. What I think I will do, or rather, let me share this, that I did ask my dermatologist whether this condition had anything to do with diet, and she mentioned that it has nothing to do with diet and that I can eat whatever I want. And then when I ate less of the things that were in the house, I started becoming picky, because somehow I really believed if I tried something with my diet too, then my condition can actually improve. So I stopped eating meat, I stopped eating spices, I stopped taking sugar and salt. And I realized that I had less flares than previously before. And when I saw those results, obviously what am I going to do? I'm going to eat less of more things, because I didn't know what is the thing that was actually triggering this condition. So I decided to literally cut meals also, because I realized also that when I did not eat much throughout the day and ate very little, I flared much less. And when I didn't eat completely the whole day, I actually had no flare at all. Yes, like literally the whole day with no food and just a few sips of water here and there. So I literally drank no water and no food. I could go for about 2 days at most. And when I did eat, I ate one meal, which would be a green smoothie with very minimal ingredients inside it, by the way. I would have a green smoothie, probably with an apple, spinach, banana, celery, and perhaps orange, and that was it. And that would be the one glass at night before I go to sleep, and then the next day probably skip a day, and then I'll have a smoothie for another 2 3 days, skip a day or 2 days, and that helped a bit. But still, I still flared now and then. So that's only one thing that I can mention that I did see helped with that condition a little bit. Another thing that the doctor did give me is Texa allergy. I hope I'm saying that correctly, yeah. Texa allergy. They helped to reduce the itch. So I was taking those antihistamines, and I had also started taking sleeping tablets because I couldn't sleep. The itch was so bad that I felt like my skin was on fire. It was like literally burning inside. I would be burning inside my skin. So that was the most horrible time in my life. I had the worst experience ever. I wouldn't wish even such a condition on my worst enemy. I felt the most pain. I would sit in bathtubs for about 4 to 5 hours. Yeah, 4 to 5 hours in the water, just trying to cool off the itching. Put Epsom salts,